Alright, story time, because someone asked. So, here's the story about how I created the video crew in high school. Yeah, the ever so infamous and yet famous video crew that everybody knows about. Well, some of you. Those that were in my high school. Anyways, uh, yeah, no. One day I went to we had this class called Comtech, which is computer tech. And I went in there and we had movie style grade cameras, like movie grade cameras. And they were just sitting there rotting away. Quite literally, they were just sitting there gathering dust. So what I chose to do, excuse me, excuse me, sorry. What I chose to do was actually put them to use and figure out what to do with them. So eventually, what I found out was to literally record every event in the school. And it started out with doing stuff for this guy named Keith White, who ran the local music store and was part of the township council in Angus, Baxter, if you will, that whole area. I think it was specifically Angus, though. What else is there to say? Started out doing a Remembrance Day ceremony in Canada. We call it Remembrance Day. I think in America they call it Veterans Day. What else is there to say? Started recording Remembrance Day, moved on to school plays once Keith White put in a good word for us. And there's this guy named, what was his name? Mr. Anyways, he was an exchange teacher at the beginning. And what he did is that he basically vouched for us because he did his actual production and he wanted to see more students get into that field of work. So that's why he vouched for us. And instead, what happened was he left the first year that we started. And the next year we got another exchange teacher that didn't really know what he was doing, to be honest. And what else? He was a little hesitant to let us do what we wanted, but we managed to push through that. Next year, the teacher that was backing us up showed up again, and we got to do even bigger stuff like school plays and graduation. Sorry. It's a habit. Anyways, when graduation hit, we used like the whole shebang, the whole setup. We had this thing called a TriCaster at the time, which let us bypass using this shitty program called Blackmagic, which you had to use a special cable called a Firewire and all this sort of jazz that didn't really work well with the computer. For some reason, it was outdated and just did not like a camera being hooked up to it. We don't know why. It was the world's most puzzling thing ever. It just did not like a video camera being hooked up to it. And you think, well, Dustin, you could hook up a webcam easily. And I'm thinking, well, that's what I thought. It's like we could hook up a webcam easily, but we can't hook up a camera, let alone an analog setup, right? Like it was absurd. We managed to make do with this thing called Blackmagic for a while. And then we got onto this thing called the TriCaster, which is easy. Just get the RCA cables and plug them in. That's it. It was all digital from there. What else? Needless to say, after we got the TriCaster, things were easy. I became the director, and this guy named Chris Magnuson. Showed up, and he became the producer and kind of ran things after that. After I just kind of stopped caring, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, it still doesn't really sit with me how that turned out, but whatever. We can't do anything about it now. I'm pretty sure it doesn't sit well with others either. But because of Chris Magnuson, we got a hold of doing a job at Rogers. So that was something interesting. And the teacher was astonished that I didn't want to do the directing role. And I said to him, I'm going to graduate soon. Who's going to do the directing when I'm gone? And he shut up after that, pretty much. What else is there to say? After graduation, and after I graduated, I couldn't help out during the final ceremony for me. I could set it up at the beginning, but I couldn't help out once it was time for me to graduate. So I spent the entire day on graduation instead of just a ceremony, the entire day, school and after school. Well, they didn't have school during graduation, sorry. But it was basically school. Like, I was there from like the morning, setting up graduation, doing all these tests, making sure everything was flawless. It was absurd. Like, it was like school play level of setup. And yeah, after I graduated, I'm pretty sure the club disbanded because I wasn't there to maintain it, and neither was Chris Magnuson. So once that happened, yeah, life goes on. And that's the story of the video crew.